Okay, so we're just going to do a rough trading guide as far as, what I recommend, what I don't recommend, all that. So, first off, I'm just going to cover gems because that's the most, that's the biggest thing that most people typically wonder about. Gems, I think, are good right now because if you're cashing out of old items that are inflated and you're going into gems waiting for an opportunity to buy into something you want, it's good. There's a reason I have 269 million of it. Like, it's intentional. I don't personally like holding pure gems. I only do it if there's something specifically I'm looking for in the market. So if you see me at, near zero gems, there's nothing I'm waiting on. I'm just holding wrap because I think it's the best. If you see, over 100 million gems, I'm expecting something to happen pretty much always. As far as right now goes, again, I'm not value trading really anymore. I don't like I do it with small items. Like I still have demonics I'm trying to sell out of, and I'll just quickly show. So I have stuff I'm selling, nothing particularly like crazy, but just trying to get this gone. Selling sell out into gems, and then I'm probably going to be looking for gem packs. But I'm going to cover ranked items first because that's the biggest thing in the market. Champ is always going to be good. Champ should always go up. If you sell out of champ at a cheap price, someone will buy it and gatekeep it up probably a few 100 million. I know I have one viewer that has, I think, like 10 champs and 10 ages at least, which is very impressive. There's a lot of people that will gatekeep champ and ages. So if you sell out of them cheap, they will be purchased. I don't recommend ever selling out of these. These will always go up. If people ever drop on the prices on these, I'd be amazed. Realistically, if there isn't ever an update that just tanks the price of champ, the game's dead. Trading's dead. If people don't care about champ, the game just doesn't care anymore. No one will care. Anchor. So Anchor I specifically wanted to talk about in this video because I think it's one of the most misunderstood items. Now, is it a good item? Yes. Do I recommend it? Yes. However, everyone that bought into Anchor before this update was like, okay, great, I buy in at like 350 and then we're going to gatekeep to 500. I do think that will work. So I'm not saying it's incorrect. It is a very nice ranked item. Hellhound did a really good job on it. But I think people are getting ahead of themselves as far as the pricing of it. So within the last day, this is the price within the last day. This is very clearly not 500. It is not worth 500 yet. It doesn't matter that the wrap price says that, it isn't selling for it. So within the last day, this is what it's, or sorry, within the last day, this is what it's at. So yes, it's like 350 to 450. Still worth a lot, but this is not 500. So again, for all the anchor owners, try to price it at 500. If you get a sale, that's great, but I would recommend buying into anchor again at 400 if you manage to sell for 500. This is a value trading item that you're watching. I don't view this as an investment item yet because it's not really it's not high enough to where it's just an investment item. It's still something you can value trade with. So, I would recommend trying to sell out at 500 at least today where the wrap's 500, or maybe try to justify like 550 for clean, which they should never buy from you for that currently. But if you sell, that is an amazing opportunity. So this is a value trade item as far as I'm concerned. Now, the risk is this is climbing relatively quickly. Over the last week, it has climbed from about 300 to 400 on the graph. So, over the next week, it might climb from 400 to 500. But there is about 100 million range as far as where people are buying them. So, if you're a value trader, I would be focusing on this as one of your main items to look for opportunities on. It should be good. Now, do I expect it to go to a billion? No. I would be amazed if it goes up past 500 mil. So, I don't expect it to go much past that. It's not going to be worth more than Aegis in any world. I don't care how nice the item is, Aegis is much, much rarer, and Aegis is a very nice item itself. So, I expect this item to cap out at 600 tops. it's possible that it goes a little higher, but I don't think the market can support this being a billion. I don't think it will. Champ only got over a billion relatively recently in terms of the game's history. So Anchor is not this, money glitch item where you just buy into it and print free money. This will stop the growth. It will stop growth at some point. So as much as I view Anchor as an opportunity for most traders, I do think it's also going to be a trap for some of you. Some of you are going to buy in at, 500 thinking it goes to 600, and either it will or it won't. If it goes to 600, it was a great trade, but if you buy in at like one of these high points, I don't think it's going to end well for some of you. So, just as a value trading item, be very careful you're buying into Anchor intelligently. Every time it's dipped, like, oh no, it's going up. Great. They bought in at 250. Great. They bought in at 250 again. Great. They bought in at 310, 405. Like, just try to make sure you're buying in at one of these times. If you buy in here, at some point it's going to stop growth. So just be really careful that you're committing to the item. That's a lot of, currency or money to invest, thinking you're going to get a return. So this is the main item to be careful of as far as ranked items go. Champ is always going to slowly increase with the market. Aegis will also only increase with the market. Again, Aegis fluctuates a bit more. And again, this is a diamond weapon. It's not a top 500 item. So you find a little bit more opportunity on it, but I know people that are gatekeeping Aegis. So just be careful. Like, people are looking for opportunities on these for super cheap. Also, the graphs are really, really messed up here, so you can't really trust them. If you have an Aegis, especially like a clean Aegis, I wouldn't sell it for under a bill. What are they going to do? Like, you have an Aegis, you can kind of demand whatever you want. So be very careful if you have a champ and Aegis. Just hold them. Like, I don't see a reason to sell out of them ever. Like, if you're a value trader, you always keep them. The only reason you ever sell out of champ or Aegis is, it's at a good enough price to sell. I want this one thing I can go buy with the money. Great, then go do that. But for a value trader, you would just hold these permanently. These are the best items in the game. Champ and Aegis. There's nothing that will ever compete with Champ and Aegis. Now, something might grow very quickly, like Anchor grew very quickly from like 250 to 400. So yeah, there's going to be times other items have opportunities. But if you're going to pick one item to have on your account, Aegis and Champ are going to be the best items always, realistically. If there's ever a change in that, I'd be amazed. But yeah, just be really careful with Anchor. Champ and Aegis, again, don't undersell yourself if you have one. Just expect that. Dracos and Hikaru are not the same tier as Anchor, Champ, and Aegis, in my opinion. It's pretty much Champ, Aegis, Anchor. Dracos is kind of lower. The thing is, Dracos is a nice weapon. It is the Season 2 item. However, people don't like Dracos that much. It just isn't that popular. Demonic did really well. Demonic would have been more deserving of the top 500 slot. So it's a nice item, but Dracos is kind of done. Like, it's going to be around 300 for a while. Sure, it might climb to like 320, 330. Maybe it goes to 350 after like a while. But like, this is the month graph. Now, this is a bit of a mess. It was selling really low around here. It was stable 335 for a while. And then it peaked around here and it gets kind of messy. Don't expect anything crazy from Dracos. Dracos is going to stay around here and that's about it. I don't recommend Dracos. If you are a value trader, I would probably consider selling out of Dracos to value trade if you know what you're doing. If you just like Dracos, it will always be a good token as far as you can always trade it back into the market and get a good amount of stuff for it. So just keep it in mind. Again, Dracos being less than Anchor, I find very strange, but Anchor is a much better item. So it isn't really that surprising. As far as other stuff, I guess Hikaru will briefly cover. Anchor or Hikaru is kind of the same. It's really not going to go lower or higher. If it's like 70, it's way too cheap. It's still a top 500 item. It doesn't deserve to be a top 500 item, but it's rare. It's not pretty, but it's rare. So don't expect anything crazy from Hikaru. It's kind of just a good value token, but it's not a good item. Like, this is the monthly graph. A lot of people just sell out of Hikaru because the demand isn't there to ever buy it up to a higher price. So just keep in mind, Hikaru, I would say, is safe, but it's not good. Like, it's fine. So it'll always be worth around the current price, and then S grades will go down around it. So when I was saying Hikaru is a decent investment if you have like 100 mil, you're much safer than this with this than like a divine. If you had a divine, you would have lost 30 million. So, like, per divine. There's a or sorry, no, you would have lost 40 million per divine. So there's a reason I recommended this. Same whenever they added Inferno. Inferno sword dropped from like 28 mil to 7 mil. So there's a reason I recommended this as your way to get out of gem pack items that were going to die, or Robux pack items that were going to die. This isn't a great item, but it was safer than the alternative. That's why it was recommended to preserve value. I think that's pretty much it. I'm not going to get into like secrets. Just expect these to get re-added and be cheaper. So I'm personally selling out of my demonics, but I also just want to interact with the economy again. I don't want to just sit on demonics. But with how cheap Kill Switch was balanced around the pack, I expect them to make a demonic pack version of Hacker and the limited one. So I would expect that for all the secrets. That's how I would expect them to re-add it, just because it's the most convenient and the system worked pretty well. So I expect them to get cheaper, but we'll see. Again, I don't think there's much of a risk of these coming back anytime soon. I would think they get cycled in after all of the old Robux packs are put back in. So when 2.0 items start dropping, demonic will probably be first, and then we'll just see what happens. Just that's what I would expect. But that's pretty much it as far as items go in here. Then we're going to talk about the packs. So as far as the limited pack goes, this skin's not going to be worth anything. It's ugly. Kill Switch, if you can buy it at like 4 mil, it's decent. I don't think it's amazing, but it's okay. Now, because of triple luck, I don't recommend buying Kill Switch yet, because you can get it from the gem pack. So you wait on Kill Switch. If you want these two, these are not affected by triple luck. So buy them at the cheapest point before they're cycled out, which should be after a month, I would guess. So you've got plenty of time to get these. Just look for an opportunity if you want to collect these. They'll be at the cheapest point sometime within the month, I would guess. Rock, paper, scissors, again, I covered it in the last video. It's client side, so you might win on your screen, the other person might win on their screen. It's a really bad emote because you can't pick and you can't even agree on who wins. So skip this emote. All of this cosmetic shop stuff will go into the packs when they're done. So I would just not buy this version of the pack. And again, for this gem pack and all other gem packs, luck does not work. So it's a 2% for Firewall. We are going to pop a potion just to show it. So we're going to pop a mini luck 1. 2x luck for 15 minutes. Oh no, it's worth the same exact, or it's the same exact rate. So as soon as triple luck is fixed, this will be much cheaper. So I would wait to buy into this entirely until it's fixed. This goes with all the gem packs. Every single gem pack that exists, you wait on. It's not worth buying them yet. Which I didn't know triple luck was bugged at the beginning. I thought it was a visual bug for a little bit, and then I've asked around, and the general consensus seems to be that everyone thinks it's bugged. So it's not a visual glitch, it's not working, I believe. So if you have gems, save them. For anyone that bought gem packs, it kind of sucks, because if triple luck was bugged, then that means you just wasted a bunch of your gems. But it is what it is. Also, funny thing, the collider is not working on this, so this just keeps falling on the floor. But it is kind of funny. Inferno, again, this is going to get much cheaper. Whenever there's an Inferno sword in here, it's going to be about 4 mil to obtain a mythic when you have triple luck and VIP active. So Tri-Heat's still going to be, an awful item to get in here. You never want Tri-Heat because it's in Inferno pack and Standard pack. However, as soon as it's fixed, also it's weird that they have Eyesight in the Godly spot, but it's a Mythic, which is honestly that's a good way of handling it. So yeah, I like that. I didn't notice that till now, but all of this stuff's gonna get way cheaper. So just wait, just hold your gems, sell out of the old items, and focus on that. Trade out of anything that's going to dip really hard if you're a value trader, and if you don't care, then don't care. Again, if you love something, keep it. That will always be the thing I tell people on this channel. I'm never going to tell you to sell out of something that you love. However, stuff like, Divine being re-added, every single Robux pack that comes out in the future will make the item go down. So Cyber Enigma is this weekend. If you have a Cyber Enigma and you care, sell out of it. Now, I don't care. I have a Cyber Enigma right here. I will be keeping this. I don't care. So, if you're a value trader, don't be like me. I'm happy with my inventory and I like the items I have. So, I don't really care about the value because I'd never trade it off anyways. That's, again, a lazy way to do trading. I could make a lot more if I cared, but I don't. So, I'll be doing that. But yeah, just wait on all of these gem packs. It goes for every single one. Sam, Fallen, Leviathan, and Soulblade are going to dip massively when Triple Luck is fixed. Because, great, if Fallen's worth 15 mil, and it goes from it costing 6.4 million per mythic, it'll cost here. So it was 6.4 million per mythic with VIP. It'll be a lot lower with Triple Luck. It'll be 2.1 million per mythic. So Fallen might dip to as low as 5 million if Triple Luck is fixed. I mean, it could drop to 2 million, I guess, but I don't think people are going to. These three items should be worth the most because they're newer and they have poses, so people are going to gamble them. So I'm expecting about 5 million for Fallen, Leviathan, and Soulblade once Triple Luck is fixed. Keep that in mind. That's going to be very important. If you have a Soulblade, Fallen, or Leviathan, and you're value trading, you sell out of Fallen and Leviathan at 15 mil. Try to sell your Soulblade for like 8 or 10. It'll go down. So that's one of the few times where there's a guaranteed profit option. It's more just, same with like Cyber Enigma coming back. Sell out of your Cyber and you can buy it back this weekend. Well, you might as well. Like, there's no reason not to. So keep that in mind. Really, for all of the old packs, you should consider selling them. If you have an Amethyst, that will also die in price. So sell out of your Amethyst, sell out of your Gem, sell out of your Olympus. All of the gem pack items, just get out of them. Now, if you have a Legacy OG version, those are always going to be worth more and always should trade into the new economy better. So let's say you have S Nutcracker. Reckless will tank in value massively because of Blaze being added to Inferno. It already has tanked, but whenever Nutcracker is added, it'll tank that much more. The actual S grade item, the Nutcracker with the S grade aura and the higher wrap, that will just fall off the face of the planet because it'll be much cheaper. So be very careful about what you're holding and keep in mind what's going to dip. That's the main way you maintain value. If you can trade your inventory out to Hikaru axes, Dracos, realistically Hikaru, again, you don't really want to do Hikaru, but it's a fine option. Dracos, Anchor, if you can get a Champer and Aegis, that's obviously a good thing. But all of those are going to be much safer. If you can't do that, going back into pure gems within this economy makes sense because Triple Luck will make most of it tank. Now, same for any sort of Robux pack item that hasn't been added yet, you would cash out of those. If you have Divine Shadows, you would save them until they're rotated out for a little bit and they'll recover. So that's essentially your cheat code to how do you deal with the new economy. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. I'll try to get to you. but I think that covers basically everything. Anything you expect to dip, just deal with it the best you can or the way you want to. And that's the way you recover. And again, expect every single Robux pack and every single gem pack that has ever existed to come back and to be re added consistently. So, Divine will come back, Inferno will come back. It isn't being reran once. So, long term, you're better off with ranked items because ranked items should always go up relative to the economy. But keep in mind the opportunities that should show up soon. Because, whenever these items like Fallen and Leviathan come out, when Triple X fixed, if you can just spam open packs, sell your Fallens at, 10 mil, you're gonna make a ton of money. And then you can just buy back into the packs more. The issue with packs is the selling time will eat you alive. So if you can sell things cheaply, but to where you're making a profit, that's the ideal. So like you wouldn't sell a Fallen at 15 mil right now. You would sell it at, 12 and then try to cycle all the gems back in. So you'd sell your Fallen at 12 and then, if Leviathan or Fallen become the focused mythic, then you'd immediately come back in here and open packs. Again, luck is not working currently, so I don't recommend spending on packs until luck is fixed. Just stockpile your gems, sell out of the old stuff, and then dump massive amounts of gems if you want to profit that way. The issue is the selling time is a big deal, and if you want to make as much as possible, you really still want to sell the godlies. The godlies are free money. You don't want to delete your godlies. The legendaries you can delete. No one cares about legendaries. But that's my recommendation for how to profit. If you have any questions, put it down below. I'll get to you as soon as I can. Same if you're an experienced trader, you know what's going on. If you can answer some of the questions for me, that helps too. But yeah, that's it. So have a good one.